What's going on, everybody? We got a big episode today, so strap in. As always, I'm your host, Josh Gerson, along with my co-host,
Bill Rom. Let's get it.
Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle.
The wonderful, the beautiful, the handsome
Dennis
Dietz behind the scenes. Let's get right into it. Of course, it seems, as always, every time we record an episode, there's a new no-hitter. Pretty much every week.
I mean, we've been talking about this for a while now, that hitters are behind pitchers.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, again, has to do with last year's COVID situation, guys being in and out of stuff. Just doesn't look like the game is the same from a hitter's perspective. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be guys who do individually well.
Yeah.
But it just seems like pitchers are so much further ahead than the hitters still.
Particularly against the Indians, Rangers, and Mariners.
Now, they each have 2 no-hitters against each of them?
Yep.
They're trying to do a race for the season title. Who can be hitless most?
I think the record for no-hitters in a season is 8, I believe. Wow. And the last time 2 teams got no-hit twice in the season was the Mets and the Dodgers in 2015. So they're off to a hot start in a bad way. But it's just absolutely crazy. But the big story this week, and I know you got a lot to say about it. I was just completely blown away with it, is the Yermin Mercedes situation.
Oh, sweet Jesus, yeah.
And so for anybody who hasn't been paying attention all the way, a couple days ago, the White Sox were blowing out the Twins, and they had their stud pitcher, Willians Astudillo, on the bump, tossing in the 7th or 8th inning.
In case you don't know, he's joking. He's being facetious.
Yes, yeah.
Astudillo's a position player.
He's a catcher, third baseman, big dude, throws about 47 to 50 miles an hour. And he tossed a 47-mile-an-hour pitch to Yermin Mercedes in a 3-0 count, and he took it 420 dead center. Mm-hmm. And after the game, Tony La Russa made a comment saying that there was going to be consequences and that he was going to have to deal with his team and stuff in the clubhouse. And his teammates actually came out and were like, no, this is cool. Tim Anderson was commenting on an Instagram post about it. He said, quote, "The game wasn't over. Keep doing you, Big Daddy." Okay? And the following day, Lance Lynn also came out and said there are no rules when a position player is pitching, adding, "The more I play this game, the more those unwritten rules have gone away." And that night as well, the Twins threw at Yermin Mercedes in the 7th inning.
And Tony La Russa said he was cool with that.
Yeah, he
so
said
we now have
a
massive disconnect.
Yep.
And the person in the room who spent a decade not managing a baseball team is now managing a baseball team and is 76 years old.
Yep.
And just looks like he doesn't have connection to his players at all.
Yeah, and he added this too about Lance Lynn's comment. Lance has a locker. I have an office. I don't agree.
Like, you're such a douche.
Yeah, it's a tough look. But you know what? I think when that signing happened, a lot of people were like, this could go bad. Like, Tony La Russa's like an old school guy. I don't know.
And then
if
the team is successful, right? So,
yes.
like, the thing that this is now going to be a blight on is that they're 26-16 because Yermin Mercedes exists and has been such a good player for them. Mm-hmm. I wrote in my notes, because I'm trying to think about these unwritten rules, which I think is just such garbage.
Which we also had to deal with last year.
Because I have my own unwritten rules. You have your own unwritten rules. So I think something's this and you think something's that. Guess what? That's why there's actual rules. Mm-hmm. And there's this dumb thing where you said you're cool with the other team throwing at your player.
Yeah.
Like, in what world is that fine?
Yep.
Like, you go out to a bar and you're cool with somebody throwing hands on your buddy, and you're like, yeah, I mean, he was talking to your girlfriend. Like, no. Like, you might talk to your boy after the fact, but you don't say that to anybody. And when things go crazy, you're not out there like, yeah, you deserved it. Like, never.
No, very ugly.
Like, he's going to lose I think you have to fire him. And I think that the challenge is that unless the players come out in support of, we're going to move on from this, from him, I don't know how he doesn't lose the locker, but like you have a situation where the team is winning, so who's responsible?
The players.
Managers who don't matter as much in baseball. Yeah. Probably the least important thing in baseball, in pro sports right now, is a manager in baseball. Yeah. Like, you're borderline pointless. The second least is maybe basketball. But like I wrote this down. If you're up big in a game and your pitcher, and you have pitchers in, you have your relievers in, and you guys have absolutely shelled the other team, and he's throwing respectable pitches down the middle, right? And he's behind 3-0. Let him get a strike.
Yeah.
So that we can get to the point that we got this game going, right?
Yep.
And I'm with you. Don't swing. Don't swing. You guys have the guy's numbers. You guys have this.
Yep.
They've got a guy in there who has
absolutely.
If you're up big and you're disrespecting the game by putting in a 400-pound man who's throwing a 46-mile-an-hour softball down the middle of the plate, you disrespected the game because you're trying to get a competitive advantage. We don't want to waste arms.
Yep.
Well, guess what? My team has to play you again.
Yep.
We're competing for. I want you to throw your pitchers as much as you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why am I going? I want you guys to remember the next time you're thinking about putting a position player in, I will swing on his 3-0 pitch and I will pimp it out of the stadium.
Absolutely.
And I will walk. I will moonwalk around like Michael Jackson. Don't do it again. Don't disrespect my game. But no, that's not okay. La Russa, if you go back to when Tony La Russa was like an up-and-coming manager, do you think he would have been okay, like a position player throwing in a game when you have healthy relievers? Like if we were in a game that was 26 innings and you have to go to a position player, get it.
Sure.
When we're just getting tossed out and you're like, I don't want to ruin arms.
We've been saying too, like this year, it seems more than ever people are just throwing the game in like the 7th inning. You're seeing like 3, 4, 5 position players.
Because the analytics say punt the game.
Oh, you guys are down by 8. Cool, done.
That's why managers don't matter.
Yeah.
Because the analytics told you what to do, so you did it.
Yep.
Look back at the Rays, right?
The Rays Snell situation.
They go, oh, the analytics. But guess what? When we play thousands of games in a season, you're in a situation where their analytics need to matter because there's so much. We actually know what's going to happen over time, right? Football, 16 games. Analytics matter, but I can break from the analytics easier.
Yep.
I'm playing 162 games across 30 different teams. I know what numbers are going to show up more often than not because I have volume. So a manager doesn't matter. But when you say this and you've been out of the game for the last decade, you just made yourself look so out of touch
so bad
with today's game.
Yep.
And I hope he gets fired. Because that's an absolute abomination of you're a leader of men.
Yep. And I think what you said too of like he's going to lose the locker room, I think he's not humble enough to be like, yo guys, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Let's get on the same page and go back to worrying about the team.
I don't even know if it's a humble enough. Like, but his comments, yeah, for sure. Like, that's why I have an office and he's got a locker. Like,
right, like that's a nah,
dude. Like, you just disrespected what he does for a living. Like, you disrespected
like
your
low-key
player.
Carrying your pitching staff right now too.
Like, you disrespected one of your players.
Yep.
And instead of you taking a step back and being like, we'll handle this internally, like everybody says players should do. Oh, players shouldn't talk about it in public. The manager is throwing this back out into the public constantly.
Yeah, doubling down
he wants this to be done in public.
Yeah.
Is he tired? Does he have Alzheimer's? Has he forgotten where he is? Is he drunk? Like, Dennis is like, he's definitely drunk.
Definitely a little drunk.
Like, he's definitely drinking. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's ugly. It's ugly. He just keeps doubling down on it too. Like
he right now he's like in the early part of the season from A League of Their Own when Tom Hanks is just like an abomination drunk, like, and he's not doing the lineup, and he's just like, F all of you, I hate all of you, you're not ball players. Like that's Tony La Russa right now.
Yeah.
Like Tony La Russa is Tom Hanks, early stages of that. Like everybody's just like, just manage the team then.
Yeah.
Don't be just such a asshole. And like, wow, I can't believe we've gotten to this point in 2021. And like baseball, to me, this goes back, like, you're cool with your guy getting thrown at because you feel like somebody disagrees with you. They disagree that an unwritten rule, like they didn't break the law. They disagreed with you on an opinion. And this is like a problem, American culture right now, period. We disagree about things.
Yep.
So because we disagree about things, some people think it's okay to take action where I'm going to try to hurt you for a disagreement on an opinion, for you doing something I didn't like. You didn't break the law. You did something I didn't like. So I'm going to hurt you.
Yep.
I'm going to take action against you. Like, that's the snowflake culture. Why is baseball always trying to make it 1890? And it's like, respect the game, and you have to respect the game because this is all we listen to on the radio because I have no television, I have no phone, I'm bored most of the time. Like, oh, God, I'm sorry that the world is no longer the way that you wanted it to be forever ago. Yep. Move on. Accept what it is. And if you can't, quit.
But you know what I think is interesting, too? I don't think the Twins were actually that upset about it when it first happened. Like, they had already conceded, like, we put a position player in, whatever happens, happens.
Because nobody cares in baseball right now.
Cared.
The guys are like, yo, we're having fucking fun.
Yep.
Like, baseball's fun again.
And I think then they had a problem with it once La Russa started it.
76-year-old guys like, that's not the game I used to play.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't care. That's why you don't play it anymore. That's why you were out for a decade. We're shocked you're even here right now.
Absolutely shocked.
We're all completely
the entire baseball
in a pretzel.
Community was like, how? Why him? I don't think he'll be the manager next season, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
Again,
they win the World Series. There's nothing you can do. Then it's at a point where it's like drugs.
You're saying who wins? Who's making this team good? We knew the team was going to be good before La Russa took the reins, quote unquote. I don't.
We called it. We thought that this team had some stuff.
Absolutely, and I don't think anyone was really like understanding of like this isn't the guy to get into that culture and like be on their team.
Yep.
Like he's like exactly what he said is I have an office, you have a locker. He's that guy.
Right, and like that's not
what they need.
But you know what? So like I would say to you, if we were going back in time, I would say to you that the White Sox had players who had swag and energy and talent.
Yep.
But no direction to where they were applying.
Yeah, I understood that.
So him coming in and applying it, right? Think AKA Tom Thibodeau with the Knicks.
Yep.
Here's a person who's now going to be regimented and diligent, and he's not the way the coaches are today. He's different, and so there's been success with some of it.
Yep.
But you can't make this comment.
No, there's a line.
You can't do this comment. You like if this team falls apart and falls off the rails, it's this moment right here over something that doesn't need to matter that much.
Yep.
You think it's a problem? Say something. Hey, what'd you think about that? I'm going to keep that to myself. We're going to have a conversation in the locker room.
Yep.
You seem upset. We'll keep this in house. Like everybody talks about the Mets with the whole like raccoon or a rat thing, right? Now this is childish and this is this. You guys should have just said, oh, we had some stuff we're keeping in the locker room and button it up and like then this. Like what? What's the unwritten rule of not talking shit in the media?
Yeah.
Like, you're doing it. So like again, it's so asinine and it's so dumb and it goes back to what we hate about baseball. And like I'm enjoying baseball, and then all of a sudden this dude speaks, and just muzzle him and just don't talk anymore. Yeah. We'll be fine, and we'll be good, and the game will be better for it. Ohtani watch.
Yes, had a start last night. I wouldn't say it was his best. I'd say he looked a little off.
So the velo being down a lot.
Yep, that definitely caught some eyes. 4 2/3, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks. But his fastball velo was 91 to 93, got up to 95 in his last inning, but just was really working more off-speed stuff, cutters, sliders, splitters. But his splitter was a lot slower, too. Like, just didn't look like himself, but was getting the job done. So,
do you think that he's a little gassed by his run?
I could see it. I think it's like this is really like him playing at peak level in the majors, like for the first time really in his career.
Like constantly.
Up to this year he hadn't batted. He's played in every single game, hadn't batted when he pitched. Like, I could see him getting a little tired, but he came out and was like, no, like I'm good. Like, just had an off day.
I just don't think anybody's ever going to say I'm not good in that situation.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Like, you kind of got to protect him from himself.
But I think he could definitely use like an off day or something.
Sadly, he's not going to probably get that because Mike Trout is out 6 to 8 weeks with the calf strain. But that means that the MVP race is on.
Oh yeah.
The MVP race is on.
Now it's wide open.
Because the dude who was tearing the cover off the ball and looked great and had all the stuff, and it's Mike Trout, and he's the All-American Captain America character for baseball. Like, the writers just like to, this is easy, we'll just cash it in.
Yep.
Now you're gonna have to think, like, because you can't give it to him now, because you already had a conversation. If Ohtani keeps even remotely playing the way he's played, even with his erratic pitching, his pitching has been solid.
Yep.
You're going to have a situation where he can't even beat his own teammate. The Yankees have, had moments where Giancarlo looked like, oh, he's super stud. Like, this guy's great. Like, you have the race open because Trout being gone. But the sad thing for me is this pretty much is the end of the Angels again.
Yep. We already saw it coming. The pitching staff went from being okay to, all right, we're back to dumpster fire level.
Yeah.
And, listen, we talked about, like, they could, if they're doing well, they can make a trade, do things like that. I think we're already at the point where
if Trout's gone, if Trout's out for 6 to 8 weeks, can't make the move.
Yep.
Right? Like, it changes your entire dynamic. Why are we going to go all in when we don't have all our pieces?
Yep, absolutely. And it's so unfortunate, too, because we talked about it every single week. They have the pieces for at least in their lineup to be that.
Yeah, they have a legit their first baseman's banging shots too.
Banging.
Like, they have legitimately 4 hitters when they're at their best that are really, really great part of your lineup. Like this, you're playing MLB The Show, and you've gotten a lot of really good card pulls like in your packs. Like dudes can do it. Sad, very, very sad to see, and it's a shame. And then, speaking of the Angels, former Angel and current Dodger, Albert Pujols.
Yep, signed with the Dodgers this week, which I don't think anybody was expecting, to be honest with you.
I didn't at all. I really was confused by it. I guess it's, for him, he doesn't care if he just gets an at-bat here or there, if he has the best chance he's ever had of getting a ring on his finger.
Yep.
In a long while. So throw that.
He doesn't have to travel that far. Like everyone was saying, St. Louis, but you have to also understand he has a family, he's got kids. He drives an extra 20 minutes now, and he's fine. Like,
facts. Did you see that the GM of the Long Island Ducks though? He tweeted. He was like, I guess you're not coming
to spring training.
To
yes,
us.
I saw that. Love that.
We
shout out to Long Island Ducks.
Shout out Long Island Ducks. Shooting their shot for Albert Pujols.
Love it.
I would love to see Pujols retire to an Atlantic League team like that.
Oh my God.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
People getting to show up, see Albert just crush home runs like you're playing softball.
Yep.
And start to recognize he might be struggling at the MLB level, but man,
he would.
I'd love to see him just relax and DH somewhere and just chill.
Just be hanging out.
But that's good. And
good
then
for him.
And then the last note you have here, one of the top 10 pitchers all time. Definitely not the number one, but top 10 all time. Bob Gibson's back in the conversation because
Jack Flaherty starting the season 8-0. First time that has happened in the Cardinals organization since Bob Gibson in 1965. Flaherty's on a freaking tear right now. He looks phenomenal. Looks like he was at his best last year. I'm happy to see it. And listen, we got an interesting episode coming for people next week about Bob Gibson. I'm not gonna go too much into it, but if you're listening, if you're watching, do a little research on Bob Gibson if you don't already know some stuff about him, because you're gonna want to have some info for next week.
And if you're a huge fan of pitching, you're most likely going to want to listen next week.
Yep.
Because we are bringing in a special guest. Huge, massive fan of baseball and the history of baseball.
Yeah.
Does some amazing content and does some amazing pieces on stories about baseball that you guys probably haven't gotten as deep of a look as he's going to give you. So he is going to come in and he is going to battle us.
I plan to be more of a referee because you have your opinions. I see both sides of this conversation. So
beautiful.
I'll definitely I'll be in and out of this conversation, but I imagine it will be quite the battle.
So Josh will be refereeing and he'll be umpiring this pitching duel that we're gonna have.
Oh yeah.
And we'll see how that turns out. But again, I'm gonna win this debate.
Sounds good. I listen. I told him to bring all the research. If you don't know pitch for pitch on that season, you didn't do enough research.
Not even close. You've already seen some of my stats. I got heavy.
I know you did.
Heavy heat already.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So, guys, again, we appreciate you guys listening to us this week. Look forward to talking to you next time. Remember, as always, like and subscribe and help us out because we really appreciate giving you guys this great content.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us to snag a like and snag a subscribe from you guys. So,
and thank you guys so much for 5,000 followers on Instagram. Yes, love it. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week, guys.
Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle.